All right, let me ask you something. What would it take to completely dismantle everything you know? I'm talking nations, religions, even the very idea of family. Sounds pretty wild, right? Well, today we're diving into the vision of a man named Xuefeng and his movement, Lifechanyuan, which aims to do, well, exactly that.
And here it is, right from the man himself. I am here to dismantle nations, political parties, religions, ethnicities, and family structures. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. He isn't talking about a little reform here and there. Nope. He's calling for a total teardown of the fundamental pillars of our society. Talk about a radical starting point, right?
So the obvious question is, who is this guy with such a monumental vision? And what kind of world does he actually want to build from the ashes? That's what we're going to get into. We're going to break down his story, his philosophy, and we'll be using his own words to guide us.
Okay, so to really get a handle on the world he wants to build, we first have to understand the world he thinks is completely broken. And for Xuefeng, it all comes down to one thing. He believes modern society is in a deep spiritual crisis.
And this quote right here, this is the core of his critique. He's not really focused on the usual suspects like economics or politics. No, he goes way deeper. He says the wasteland of spirit and soul is the real source of human suffering. So for him, the real problem, the real crisis, it's happening inside each and every one of us.
And when you look at his diagnosis of society, wow, he does not pull any punches. He basically sees all of us as lost in a dense fog of civilization. He claims we're being led by what he calls a despotic and satanic government. He believes our values are totally warped by the chase for money and status, and that we're all just stuck in this quagmire of desperation.
So you gotta wonder, how does a person even get to a worldview this radical? Well, to really understand the philosophy, you have to understand the man. So let's trace the journey of Zhang Fan, the man who would eventually become known to the world as Xuefeng.
I mean, his path was anything but ordinary. We're talking born in rural China in '57, then somehow ends up as an interpreter and later a business owner in Zimbabwe, but then 1999. His life just takes this incredibly dramatic turn. There's this one single event that completely changes everything and puts him on the path to founding his first community about a decade later.
And that pivotal event? It was a near-fatal car crash in Zimbabwe. He walks away from it, miraculously, without a scratch. And in that moment, he felt like his old, secular life was just gone, dead. He came to believe that his new life, his spiritual life, now belonged to a higher power, what he calls God, or the greatest creator. But believe it or not, the car crash was really just the beginning of the story. According to his own writings, his moment of full enlightenment came a little later, while he was reading the Diamond Sutra. He describes this incredible moment where all the mysteries of the universe suddenly became crystal clear to him. I mean, this was a revelation so powerful that he went and liquidated all his businesses and just dedicated his entire life to writing down his spiritual texts. So, okay, he's had this life-altering experience, this newfound clarity. What's his solution to everything he sees wrong with the world? How does he plan to cure this spiritual illness he's identified? Well, the answer is his signature creation, the new oasis for life. He describes this as a totally new way of living and working, a kind of harmonious habitat for life on Earth. But he uses a very specific and, let's be honest, pretty provocative term to describe its structure: Xuefeng-style communism. And the rules for living in this community, man, they are a complete redesign of social norms. So the foundation sounds simple enough, right? Contribute what you can, take what you need. But it goes so much further than that. Traditional marriage and family, gone, dissolved. Romantic relationships are totally free, with the one rule that love can't be used to control someone. And maybe the most radical part of all, the community provides for absolutely everyone and raises all the children collectively. The whole mantra is basically you own nothing personally, but you have access to everything the group has. But here's the thing. The new oasis isn't meant to be just some isolated little commune. Not at all. For Xuefeng, it's the blueprint. It's the model for a brand new era for all of humanity. This is where his vision really scales up, from one local community to a full-on global transformation.
And he's incredibly specific about what his mission is. I love this breakdown because he defines it by what he is here to do, and just as importantly, what he's not here to do. So on one side, you have these huge cosmic goals: preach the way of the greatest creator, unify all religions. But on the other side, he totally rejects the typical roles. He says he's not here to oppose any country, he's not a savior, and get this, he's not even here to be a good person by our normal moral standards.
Okay, so what gives him the authority to even attempt a mission this big? Well, Xuefeng himself lays out what he calls his qualifications and capitals. And let me tell you, the claims he makes are nothing short of extraordinary.
I mean, the scale of knowledge he claims to have is just cosmic. He says he's analyzed 20 parallel worlds and 36-dimensional spaces, that he understands 8 forces of the universe when scientists only know 4. He believes he's unified Buddhism with science, and he claims he's already guided nearly 80 people to become what he calls celestials, a higher state of being. This claimed knowledge is the absolute bedrock of his authority.
And all of it leads to the ultimate promise for his followers. This is the end game. He says that if you follow his roadmap, and you follow it strictly, you can actually transcend this world entirely. You can arrive in these heavenly realms, places he calls the 1,000-year world, or even the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world.
So you step back and look at the whole picture. From a farm in rural China to a self-proclaimed guide to celestial islands, Xuefeng's journey is, you have to admit, pretty compelling. And it really forces us to ask a much bigger question, doesn't it? What does a vision this radical, a vision that wants to completely remake our world from the ground up, tell us about the deep, powerful human search for meaning in the world we have right now?